Hello, hello, hello. Still getting ready here. All right, let's get into this. What I tell you, last week, or actually, yeah, last week, I did a video just really quick. I talked about James Comey and James Comey. Nothing's going to happen to him. He's gonna get off, basically scot free. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. He got off scot free. But what I want to talk about today, I've already put those in, Shannon. You just need to start it. Okay. All right. So now we're talking about a congresswoman who actually broke the law, and now she has been criminally charged for her criminal activity. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Congresswoman McIver. Is that how you say her name? McIver. She went to the ICE facility, basically getting in a physical confrontation with the ICE agents, which you all are aware of. And now she's acting like she's the innocent one. She's the victim in all of this. She didn't do anything. She's actually blaming the ICE agents for the violence that she was pushing onto them. Now, look, if you or if we at any point, I don't even care if it's a shoulder nudge. You're walking past somebody, you're walking past them, and then you shoulder nudge them. You know what I'm talking about? I guess that's what you call it, or a shoulder push. You know what I'm talking about? Even if you do that with a police officer, ICE agent, federal agent, doesn't matter. If you do that with them, they will arrest you. Because now at that point, you've just assaulted a member of the law enforcement. That's exactly what Congresswoman McIver did. Now she's acting like she didn't do that, but we see it all on video. She was bowing them, she was slamming her body up against them, right? She was there getting in a physical confrontation. And of course, just like clockwork, the Democrats, they are okay with committing crimes, pushing violence, pun intended. And of course, for them, it's like, no, there's nothing here, nothing to look at, nothing to see. This is what you call peaceful protesting. Remember the Communist News Network? Everything behind them was on fire. Yeah, there's some violence, but it's mostly peaceful. Remember that? This is the same thing with these Democrats. And I know a lot of people don't like me referring to them as Democrats, but unless you can give me a reason why not to call them Democrats, then I'm going to call them Democrats, because look at what they're doing. They're lying about the fact that she was there being violent. It's the same thing with them lying about Joe Biden all of this time. They knew something was wrong with Joe Biden, but they constantly lied over and over and over again. So if they lied about Joe Biden, which they're turning their backs on Joe Biden right now, why would you think that they wouldn't lie about anything else? They lie about everything. The Democrats even lie about what a woman is because they act like they don't know. They lie about everything. There's nothing under the sun that the Democrats don't lie about. They love to lie. They really do. Now, of course, I got a couple clips I want to share with you of these radical Democrats. And of course, they're trying to justify the fact that she was there being physically confrontational with the ICE agents. They're justifying it. All of the radical liberals are justifying it. And Shannon, let me ask you a quick question before I play this. When we first started looking at this story, wasn't there a report that came out saying that they did not have or request permission to go into the ICE facility? And wasn't it the case?
Yeah, that's what they said. They said that there was no scheduled appearance. They said, even at the time at least, that they were there to check and make sure that the people were being treated
They
correctly.
were doing a wellness check.
And there was even some reports that were saying that they wanted to get the people released into custody. I mean, released from custody. Now, What they
actually, and there was reports that they were there to shut it down.
Absolutely, yep.
Right, they were there to shut down the ICE facility because MS-13 and Trey Agua, they need to be let out into the streets of America. Not even just them, but any criminal that's committed a crime, they need to be let back out into the streets of America for the Democrat Party. Well, listen to Abby. And of course, Abby talks around it, trying to justify it. Like, it was okay for her to do what she was doing. Listen.
The breaking news out of the Department of Justice. Alina Habba, the MAGA lawyer who Donald Trump made U.S. attorney in New York.
You hear how she said that? The MAGA lawyer. Do you see how she did that? I mean, she's triggered by MAGA. So she had to say the MAGA lawyer. Listen to her.
The breaking news out of the Department of Justice. Alina Habba, the MAGA lawyer who Donald Trump made U.S. attorney in New Jersey, has just charged Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica McIver in that ICE protest in Newark. Now, you might remember McIver and two other members of Congress went to an ICE detention facility in Newark, New Jersey to conduct oversight when chaos erupted. McIver, the other lawmakers, and the agents are there in the center of the chaos. And then look at the second video that was released by DHS. McIver can be seen pushing in the crowd as she tries to get to the mayor. Habba is accusing McIver of assaulting, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement. But they dropped the charges against Mayor Baraka. Now, McIver tonight calls the charges purely political, and they come after these red lines from liberal leaders.
You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
Hold on, before we go to this nut job here. What's the problem? If they lay a finger, so the finger's been laid now. So my question is what's going to be the problem? What are we going to find out? I mean, enlighten us, AOC. Come on, tell us. Are we going to see rioting in the streets of America? Are we going to see people getting attacked in America? Who are you going to attack? Are you going to attack white people again? Are you going to attack black people? Are you going to attack MAGA Republicans? Who are you? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Don't lay a finger. I mean, she's putting a threat out there too. And remember Hakeem Joffrey's.
Going to have a problem.
What happens if they were to go and arrest these members, or if they would try to sanction them during the House of Representatives?
They'll find out.
What would you do? I mean, what
what
recourse? I mean, doesn't that broach a?
They'll find out.
Doesn't that go across?
That's a red line.
What's the red line though? I mean, I know we have the speech.
It's a red line. It's very clear.
Everyone responsible for this illegitimate abuse of power is going to be held accountable for their actions. An attack on one of us is an attack on the American people. House Democrats will respond vigorously.
Hold on, I got to stop it right there in that statement. Did you hear what they just said in that statement, Shannon? Knowing it's a bunch of BS. If there's an attack on one of us, it's an attack on the American people. They don't say it's an attack on all of us, right? Because then they were referring to the Democrats. But they're trying to say the American people, like they're trying to get the American people to be unified with the Democrats with this corruption that they're committing. And they're committing crimes. Who wants to be part of that?
Yeah, and I want to say that literally they were not attacked, and they're not being attacked. They're being charged because they showed up at a facility. They incited literally almost a riot. It was a riot. It wasn't even almost a riot. It was straight up a riot. And because they're being held accountable, all of a sudden we're attacking them. See, this is what they do. They want to claim that every single one of them is innocent, regardless of what they do, if they do it on the behalf of what they call the American people. So this is what it is. And what it is, you get a radical liberal, go out and commit a crime, now getting arrested, getting criminally charged, and now they're the victim. Oh my goodness, we're victims after they committed the crime. Now they're victims. And it just so happened to be a black woman. I mean, it's clockwork. I mean, it really is. Black people go out and commit crimes, and all of a sudden, they become the victims after they get caught. Why is it like that all the time? It's like that all the time.
Legitimate abuse of power is going to be held accountable for their actions. An attack on one of us is an attack on the American people. House Democrats will respond vigorously in the days to come at a time, place, and manner of our choosing.
Oh, does that sound like we're going to go to the battlefield? I mean, can you imagine? I want to see that. That's got to be
I mean,
televised.
what's vigorously? I like your question, Will. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does it mean? I mean, come on, enlighten us. Don't tease us. Go ahead and tell us that you're going to put us down, that you're going to beat us. Now, for example, this past weekend, I talked about it yesterday. This past weekend, I went to the Tesla protest that the Democrats are having, and they got physically violent with me. And then they told me that the next time I come out there, next Saturday, if I show up, that they're going to put me down. I'm like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? They said they're going to bring the streets and put me down. Of course, it was a white liberal that said it. So I'm asking them the question, what does it mean? Don't be scared. Go ahead and say it. You're already putting the threat out there. These Democrats putting the threat out there, and they expect all of us, look, you do this, you're going to find out. Like, be scared of us. Be scared of us. It's just, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a straight up bully. Bullies will try to threaten you all the time. You do it, you're going to find out. You're going to do it, you'll find out. Nothing but hot air.
What kind of a threat is that? I mean, what are they going to do? I don't know what that means. He keeps saying it's a red line. We're going to do. I don't even know what they can do here because of the video.
They're not going to run into the Capitol.
The problem is they have a video of it. And it doesn't look great. And if the argument is, we're here to conduct legitimate oversight, is that what oversight looks like? Pushing and shoving and elbowing and causing a riot at a federal facility? Is that what
oversight looks like? Pushing, elbowing, body slamming. And you don't have to pick somebody up to body slam them. Let's be clear about that. Because, see, the Democrats keep trying to act like they're stupid about it. You can take your body and slam it up against somebody. That is considered body slamming as well. It is considered body slamming as well. I have another one. Here's Rachel Madcow. And, of course, she broke the story as well, if you want to call it breaking the story. And she's talking about this congresswoman getting arrested. And the main reason why these liberal media outlets talk about this stuff and try to, put out a certain narrative to get people worked up. That's the reason why they're doing it. They want the people that watch this nonsense religiously to get angry, possibly hit the streets, start rioting. Because I'm telling you right now, without me even hearing them saying it, they're going to say that if they arrest a sitting member of Congress for just doing their jobs, that means Trump is acting like a dictator, and that means that all of you will be arrested next. Just like they're constantly saying that President Trump is deporting American citizens, which is a bunch of BS. President Trump has not deported a single American citizen. Now, you've had some American citizens, sadly, they are American citizens, but they have deported themselves. Like Roseanne Barr, they have deported themselves, which is okay. I mean, by all means, I would love for every single Democrat to deport themselves. And if you want to blame Trump for your deportation, for you getting deported because you deported yourself, then by all means do it. But get out the country and do it. Get out the country. That'd be perfectly fine.
On Friday night, you might have seen the Washington Post publish this headline. Trump Justice Department considers removing key check on lawmaker prosecutions. The Post reporting on a proposal inside the Justice Department to make it so federal prosecutors across the country could indict sitting members of Congress without getting approval from lawyers in Maine Justice's public integrity section. So any random U.S. attorney anywhere in the country could indict a sitting member of Congress on their own say-so with.
Wait a minute. Do you hear this hypocrite? Are you hearing this, Shannon? She's saying that anybody around the country could just indict. Isn't that what they were doing? Remember, Mar-a-Lago, home was raided twice. The documents case in Florida, they just randomly picked someone and said, hey, we need to charge them. And then Georgia, remember that? The Mona Lisa of mugshots. Remember that? They just randomly did it. Oh, we just need to get them on something. Let's just make something up. New York, what a hypocrite. If you break the law, why should we have to go and get permission to arrest a criminal? If you go into a bank and you rob the bank, are they gonna have to? Yes, yeah, Judge, we got the guy robbing the bank on camera, and we know who it is. And right now, he's at such and such address. Can we go get him? No, you go ahead and get him, and then you talk to the judge later. You have him stand before the judge. She's saying that these criminals you have to get permission to arrest these criminals
without even needing to run it by anyone in Washington. That story broke on Friday, and it's obviously a big deal, right? One of the reasons the public integrity section exists at DOJ is to prevent prosecutors from bringing politically motivated charges. With this change, prosecutors could indict members of Congress on their own with no oversight and no check against politically motivated prosecutions. But like I said, as of Friday, the Washington Post was just reporting this as a proposal. Well, now tonight we got this news. I mentioned it at the very top of the show. 2 weeks ago, Democratic Mayor of Newark, New Jersey, Mayor Ras Baraka, was arrested by shambolic, unprofessional, very obviously out of their depth, masked Homeland Security officers while the mayor was protesting outside of an ICE detention center in his city. At the time, Trump's newly appointed U.S. attorney for New Jersey charged the mayor with one count of trespassing. Tonight, that U.S. attorney, her name is Alina Habba. She's one of Trump's old defense lawyers. Before that, she represented like parking garage companies. Tonight, she dropped the case against Mayor Ras Baraka, but then she brought a new charge against a Democratic member of Congress. Congresswoman LaMonica McIver was with Mayor Baraka at the ICE detention center when he was arrested. Alina Habba has now charged Congresswoman McIver with assault, claiming that she assaulted, impeded, and interfered with law enforcement at the ICE facility.
And that's exactly what she did. And you see how they're spinning this? I told y'all, the people that watch this crap religiously, they're like, oh, she didn't do anything wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. Trump is just doing this. And again, I haven't heard, let me repeat this, because I think it's worth repeating. Because I haven't heard him say it, and I'm making it clear, it's just my opinion. Hopefully I'm wrong. But I guarantee at some point they're going to come out and they're going to start saying that because President Trump is arresting innocent members of Congress, none of us are safe. How long you think that before that happens, Shannon? I mean, the only reason why I'm saying it because these Democrats, it's like clockwork for them. It really is. Right? It's like clockwork. Well, I mean, and the only reason, again, because we expect them to do it. I mean, I'm expecting them to do it. I mean, by all means, prove me wrong.
McIver has responded with this statement, quote, earlier this month, I joined my colleagues to inspect the treatment of ICE detainees at Delaney Hall in my district. We were fulfilling our lawful oversight responsibilities as members of Congress have done many times before. The charges against me are purely political. They mischaracterize and distort my actions. They are meant to criminalize and deter legislative oversight. And indeed, federal law explicitly protects the rights of members of Congress to inspect federal detention centers for immigrants, even with zero notice that they are doing so.
That's actually not true.
Now, yeah, you know what? Because this is what gets me. They lie, and they lie, and they lie. And the people that watch this crap, once again, religiously, they don't know. They don't know. They're just going to go based on what she's saying. Oh, she's on the television, so she must be telling the truth. She must be telling the truth. She's blatantly lying.
Yeah, and I think that they've probably heard the argument that they can't just show up. And so she wanted to address that, to her audience, even though it's a lie. Listen, look it up yourself. I looked it up myself. They do have oversight over these facilities. Their oversight has to do with having hearings, and they have allocate the money for the ICE locations. Now, if they want to visit, if they don't have power over the facilities as far as they can just walk in any time, they have to make an appointment because things happen in these facilities all day long. What happens if there's a dangerous situation happening or they're getting ready to bring in a load of people? They don't want just a congressman just randomly showing up. It could be a dangerous situation and it's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
So you have to have an appointment. They actually think that they can. Let's be honest. They actually thought that they could just walk in there because they think that they have so much power. They think that they're more than Congress people. By the way, they're civil servants. Let's even put it
They really are. They think they're
real
kings and
terms.
queens.
Yeah, but they think they're kings and queens and
Yes.
they can do whatever they want.
Yep. Okay, I have another one I want to share with you. And of course, like I said, they're all acting like the Republicans are making this out to be more than what it needs to be. She didn't actually do anything wrong. She was there doing her job. Is this what oversight looks like? At what point did oversight become violent? At what point? I've never heard of this. But see, again, the violent ones being the Democrats, and we're supposed to be like, this is normal.
And actually, the mayor, or the guy that's whoever he is, the mayor. I did not see him actually get physical or anything, so I could see how charges.
Well, they originally, to my understanding, went after the mayor because of trespassing. Because
actually he doesn't have any power over ICE. To be honest with you,
right?
He has zero power.
Zero, and he was brought up because of his trespassing. And of course, the Democrats jumped to his rescue because he's another Democrat. They're being disruptive, but they dropped those charges and went after a bigger fish. Now, personally, she should be censured and she should lose her seat because she actually assaulted an ICE agent, a federal officer. I thought no one was above the law. They screamed that so much. No one's above the law. But here they are breaking the law, but they wanting to allow someone to be above the law. Is that my understanding? Is that what we're supposed to believe? And let me say this really quick. I thought I did say Rosie O'Donnell. Did I not say Rosie O'Donnell? But that's what I was talking about, getting self-deported. And I do see your comment there. Thank you so much for that. I just want to make sure. That's who I was talking about, or Rosie. A Rosie. Well, here we go.
I'll just spare the crazy noise on this. Just what is your assessment of what is happening right now with these charges against a sitting member of the United States Congress who is at a facility in her oversight capacity?
Lie.
I doubt. I mean, I've seen the video. Unless there's an angle I don't think any of us have seen.
I don't care if she went in there with a baseball bat, hitting people over the head, gushing body fluids everywhere. They would say, I didn't see any, unless you have a different angle. I'm not going to go along with it. They don't care what the angle is.
This idea that somehow she was assaulting or overrunning and body slamming and all the other crazy stuff that they're going to say about her. How do you see this?
We've all seen that video, and it's absurd to charge a member of Congress, Representative McIver, with doing anything other than doing her job.
Oh my goodness! So this is not doing her job. Being disruptive, physically being violent with ICE agents, that's not your job. That's not the job. You broke the law. See, this is why I'm constantly saying that we're involved in a spiritual battle. This is why I'm constantly saying this, and a lot of people still don't see it. A lot of people don't recognize it. That these people are actually giving excuses for wrongdoing, for lawlessness. Y'all should look up in the Bible what it talks about in the last days about lawlessness. I mean, really, they're giving a pass for this nonsense. This is exactly what we're seeing, lawlessness. And Filter Dog, thank you so much for the gold pills.
Yes, it was an intense situation. There was no crime there. What was Ras Baraka's crime? The mayor. They just had to throw out the charges against him. What did Judge Dugan do over in Wisconsin?
Right.
Michael, she simply controlled her courtroom. She let a migrant exit into a public hallway. The Department of Justice under Donald.
Did you hear that too?
You serious?
So she simply let the illegal criminal in a public hallway. She just opened the door.
That's not what
there's
happened.
No crime committed there.
She even admitted
There's no
that
crime.
she knew what was happening. She saw that ICE was there. She knew that they were there for him, and so she found an escape route to get him out of there. See, this is why there's such a big deal about Joe Biden and him. They're covering
They're
up
lying
because they lie
They
about
don't-
everything and everybody
Yes.
on their side. But they don't even just lie about everybody on their side. They're guilty and they're covering up for them.
That's
They
exactly
lie
what it
about
is.
Republicans and say that things are happening that aren't happening. That's why
Judge-
they did the indictments on Trump.
Yeah.
Dugan do over in Wisconsin.
Right.
Michael, she simply controlled her courtroom. She let a migrant exit into a public hallway. The Department of Justice under Donald Trump and AG Pam Bondi
Wow.
is running amok. Donald Trump promised he'd be a dictator on day one. He kept going. This is the latest example. No normal administration would do this, but the courts are going to have the last word with this. This will not stand.
Oh my goodness. I mean, really? The courts will have the last word. And of course, they're going to run to radical leftist judges, anyone that they can, to try to stop President Trump from upholding the law. Do you trust him with anything? You know, I've asked this question as well for many years. What purpose do the Democrats serve? I mean, what's the purpose? Because apparently it's not for the benefit of the American people. They're not here for you and I. I guess their purpose is to help illegal criminals, because that's who he's referring to. Allowing the illegal criminal to evade ICE. That's the reason why she got arrested, talking about the judge. And in this case here, she blatantly was elbowing ICE agents. And just like I mentioned a second ago, if you're walking along and you shoulder push a police officer, agent, doesn't matter. They're going to put you in handcuffs. Why is it okay for her to do it? What do you think? What do you think? Here's another one. Giving excuse for the lawlessness. And this lawlessness that we're seeing is only going to intensify. See, right now, we're just kind of like, I mean, we've been seeing lawlessness for many, many years. But now it's just so out in the front, so out in everybody's faces. See, before when they would do this lawlessness, they would kind of, for the most part, trying to keep it under the wraps, try to keep people from actually seeing it. But now they don't even care. Now their whole objective is because Trump is in the White House and because President Trump will have prayer in the White House, the Oval Office, in the name of Jesus, they believe that they need to come out with their whole evilness and be as much demonic as they can be. If I even said that right. They want to be as demonic as possible. Lawlessness is their ways. Listen.
Tell us, when you see that she's now been charged with these allegations, is that what you experienced? Is that what you witnessed?
Well, I think the Congress people went there to do their job, to have oversight. I think, ultimately this is not about even what happened there. It's about a fight in this country, about due process in the Constitution of the United States. I think there's some people who believe they could do what they want to do and violate people's rights and their due process, and there are people who are trying to provide oversight, and it's causing conflict in this. I didn't see any of the things that were stated. I didn't see any of those things happen. So I think that the Congresswoman will be vindicated, and the videos are clear. Everybody can see.
Oh, did you see Scott Jennings' expression? Oh my goodness. You know what? I want to meet Scott Jennings. I really do. He's a national hero. I mean, he really is. I'm gonna take it back just in case you missed it. Because see, this dude blatantly lying, trying to say, no one's receiving due process. They're just randomly picking people off the streets of America. And I was hearing that when I was at the Tesla event. They said they're just deporting American citizens. It's dumb as all get out. See, again, you know what I used to say? You might remember this, Shannon. I used to say that the Democrats, when they get on these talk shows and stuff like this, they would lie to the point trying to see who could be the most convincing in the lies that they're telling. You remember me saying that? Who would be the most convincing?
Yeah.
So for those of you who've been watching Will Johnson for some time, you know that I've said that multiple times. This is another prime example of that. Let me tell these lies and see how convincing I can be by telling these lies. And that's exactly what's happening. Now watch Scott Jennings' expression.
And so I think that the Congresswoman will be vindicated. And the videos are clear. Everybody can see those videos. They'll see the whole thing, and it'll be clear to me, and it'll be clear to her in court.
I mean, the videos are pretty clear, are they not? I mean, she's shoving
so.
elbows, some punches. I mean, this is
a lot of
violent activity against law enforcement, isn't it?
It's a lot of pushing and shoving. I don't know if
would a regular person, if they came and did that to a federal officer, get away with it?
Regular person,
like a regular, just a non-politician.
They might get pardoned.
Oh, you hear that? You hear Abby? They might get pardoned. Like Hunter Biden? Really? They might get pardoned like Hunter Biden did? That supposedly did no crime? Like Fauci? Like Liz Cheney? Adam Kissinger? I wish Scott Jennings would have brought that up. I mean, I wish he would have brought that up. I mean, I'm just saying.
If they showed up at a federal facility,
they might get pardoned by the
president. But were they charged? Were they charged? Were they convicted in court?
Let me.
Would a regular person get away with it?
You brought up what she was doing or not doing on Saturday.
What she was doing or not doing? We all saw the videos. Shannon, I don't remember which one it was, and I don't think that I got it. There's a video where they were actually talking about we can no longer believe it was one of the liberal media outlets that was talking about it. You can take it off the screen too. It's at the end. And you played it for me this morning, and I want to get that to show everybody. And I'm hoping you remember what I'm talking about. He said, we can no longer tell the people to believe their lying eyes. Do you remember that? Let
me see if I can find it.
You know what I'm talking about, right? And he actually said it. And I'm like, dude, this is it. I mean, these radical Democrats, or what was it? The one with it was this one, wasn't it? Yep, I do have it. It was on the Communist News Network with Jake the Snake Tapper.
That's it right there.
Yep, with Jake the Snake Tapper, he was actually talking about it because he was talking about Joe Biden's cognitive ability. Trying to act like it. Okay, let's just go to that really quick. Because Jake the Snake, he's coming out with this book, and the radical Democrats are not happy with Jake the Snake. They're really not. And I'm surprised CNN hasn't removed him. Maybe the only reason why CNN still has Jake the Snake there because it's bringing ratings to his show, because people are tuning in to hear the information he has to say about Joe Biden. They're turning on themselves. Jake the Snake was part of the problem. He was lying to everybody, and there it is again. They're constantly lying, and now he's trying to act dumb. Well, I wrote this entire book because I didn't know that I was being deceived. Really? He pushed the whole nonsense about Joe Biden not being sharp, or Joe Biden being sharp in this case. He pushed the whole narrative. Him and the rest of them. But listen, here they are talking about his book and how in the White House, remember we constantly said how Joe Biden that they wouldn't let him talk to the press. They were hiding Joe Biden. When he would leave out the White House, going to Marine One, they wouldn't allow him to talk to anybody. You remember that? They were literally hiding Joe Biden. Now here's Jake the Snake saying the same thing.
Hey, Jake, you do a great job explaining maybe what the mindset was within the most inner circle of inner circles, including Joe Biden's, that he had this unique ability to beat Donald Trump. He's the one guy who had done it. That may explain at least the thinking among them. But what about Democratic leaders, other elected Democrats? Why didn't they speak up before, June of 2024?
I think the degree to which the team around President Biden was hiding him and sequestering him, mainly starting in the fall of 2023, cannot be overstated. There's a cabinet meeting in October 2023, and then several cabinet members told us for the book they never saw him again in person for months and months and months. He was kept away from them. And cabinet secretaries we spoke to for the book told us it was weird. One of them did have a meeting with Biden in between that last cabinet meeting of 2023 in October and the debate, and described him as being disoriented and out of it. And I think the degree to which he was being hidden from even their own administration cannot be overstated. Now, that's not to let anybody off the hook. I mean, this was a scandal and, frankly, a tragedy.
This was a scandal and a tragedy? Yesterday, I brought this up that if the Wicked Witch of the West would have gotten into the White House, they wouldn't even release this book. They wouldn't even be talking about it. They're upset because Joe Biden, in his roundabout way, and I think it's mainly Jill Biden, they are butthurt because Jill Biden wanted them, my personal opinion about this, make sure I'm clear about it, Jill Biden wanted them to push Joe Biden through. Jill Biden, if you ask me, she was the one behind the auto pen. Again, my personal opinion. And the reason why I say that is because allegedly they looked at the signature of the auto pen, and it's the same signature that's been signed multiple times by Jill Biden, signing Joe Biden's name. I'm just saying, I'm putting that out there because it's been allegedly that's the case. Everyone knows about the auto pen.
Real tragedy that the American people had every right to know about. We all saw some of these moments in front of the camera that were disturbing, but what was going on behind the scenes, as we learned through these more than 200 interviews, was even more disturbing.
Yeah, I'd just add one last thing, which is that Democratic lawmakers were scared of the White House and retaliation for speaking out.
Really? Really? No, don't say it's so. Don't say so. No, it can't be. That can't be the case. Democrats retaliating against someone for telling the truth? Say it's not so. I mean, it can't possibly be the case that they were scared of telling the truth to the public. Kind of makes me wonder about the doctor. The doctor that had to have known that something was wrong with Joe Biden, be it the cancer, being his cognitive ability. And then the doctor came out and basically reported, because even President Trump was talking about it, that the doctor was saying that, oh, Joe Biden, he's sharp. There's nothing wrong with his cognitive functions. He's good to go. That doctor was lying, whoever that doctor was, or doctors. They were lying, blatantly lying. And personally, they should lose their medical license for lying to the public. Right? And then I guess what they talk about, the HIPAA Act. Is that what it's called? The HIPAA Act, where you can't go out and tell people your public information about your health. This dude was in the White House. He was making decisions that would affect us all. And we all could see something was wrong with him. And then when they were asked the question, they lied again.
And Alex, just one more to push forward on the subject of being off the hook, because Axios has been talking about this the last few days. Your competitors over at Politico, too. Your book has really started a discussion about how Democrats will need to address this in elections in 2026 and beyond that. So what challenge do you think that poses for current Democrats?
I mean, a lot of these same Democrats that are now admitting that Joe Biden should not have run again, that he had cognitive decline, there's a lot of tape and posts and tweets, attesting that he was up to this job, not just at the time in 2024, but for 4 more years, which is the job he was going to do. So you are seeing, some try to basically reverse themselves, some try to navigate it, and some just dodging the question altogether. You saw Chuck Schumer on, Casey's show just last week, basically just say, we're looking forward, we're looking forward.
One of the things also, John, if I could say that's really important. Campaign manager in 2008, and then basically retired from politics in 2013 until he was brought in to help Kamala Harris in her 107-day campaign after Biden ultimately dropped out. David Plouffe said to us for the book, never again can we as a party tell voters that they are not seeing what they are witnessing with their own eyes? And
don't believe your lying eyes. Jake the Snake. They're all saying it. Don't believe your lying eyes. How many times have we said that? How many times have you heard me say it? How many times have you said it? How many times have you said it? Don't believe your lying eyes. And now these Democrats, they're like going on, whoa, 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 whoa. Because all that they do every single day is lie. The truth is not in them. What does the Bible say about these demonic Democrats? About the truth not being in them? What does it say? Take that phrase, the truth is not in them, and put it in. Google might give it to you. But search that. The truth is not in them. What does it say? These people are filled with demonic spirits. And now they're out there lying, like they've constantly been doing. They're lying about the lies that they told. And they're just digging their holes even deeper. Nothing about them is truthful. And again, like I mentioned a second ago, I believe that they're upset with Joe Biden because he's still going out there speaking and he's throwing a monkey wrench in everything. When they forced him to step down and then they installed Kamala Harris, he was not happy about it. I don't think he was happy about it. He wasn't happy what they did to him. And actually, I don't think they were going to install Kamala Harris, to be honest with you. What happened, because I heard this the other day, and I was reminded about it the other day, when they gave Joe Biden the boot after the debate, where Joe Biden couldn't even complete a sentence during the debate. They forced him to step down. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, other predominant, probably Elizabeth Warren, other predominant Democrats saying, you got to step down, Joe. You couldn't do this debate, simple debate. You're supposed to be able to beat Trump, and you couldn't do it. So you're going to have to step down. And allegedly, the rumors has it that Joe Biden, 30 minutes after they forced him out, because remember, they went through the primary. Joe Biden beat out the Democrats through the primary, the Democrats that they would allow Joe Biden to run against during the primary. Joe Biden beat them all. And they were like, yes, we're all standing with Joe. We're all standing with Joe. You remember, I'll never forget it. The same one that can't complete a sentence, but during the primary, Joe Biden, yay. They forced him down. And again, I believe Jill Biden's upset. Joe Biden was upset. So what did Joe Biden do? 30 minutes after that, he endorsed Kamala Harris. Then they had to go with her. They had to, because how would that look? If Joe Biden, where they're trying to say that Joe Biden, he's completely there, no cognitive abilities at all, issues at all, they had to go with Joe Biden. Joe Biden stuck it to him. The Democrat Party, as of today, they are truly collapsing. And I can't tell you how happy I am to see this, because I've worked hard. Look what they've done to me. Look what the big tech companies have done to Will Johnson. And I'm not the only one. But I've worked hard to wake people up to what the Democrat Party have been doing to this country for not just the past 4 years, past 8 years, but ever since it was created. And here comes President Trump. A Republican in the beginning crushed the Democrat Party and freed people like me. And possibly, I don't want it to be, in the end, a Republican crushing the Democrat Party again. The Democrat Party, they're fighting amongst each other. They're pointing fingers. They're saying, how did we get here? And they know how they got here, because every last one of them, Jake the Snake, Abby, Rachel Madcow, MSDNC, CNN, ABC, CBS, all of them, they were all siding with Joe Biden. When Joe Biden was falling up the stairs, they ignored it. When Joe Biden was shaking invisible hands, they ignored it. When Joe Biden would just wander off, they ignored it. Every step of the way, they knew something was wrong with Joe Biden, and they lied not only to the people who was watching the nonsense, but they were lying to themselves, and they were believing it. Now they're all like, what is this? I'm so shocked. Something's actually wrong with Joe Biden. Something's actually wrong. And you know what's happening now? Is because of these doctors that came out and lied about Joe Biden. Now they're saying that the doctors are lying about President Trump. My producer called this one. She said, now they're going to say they're lying about President Trump's doctors. And sure enough, and that's what they're doing. Because they can't talk about Joe Biden's cognitive abilities. They have to bring Trump into this, right? Like, oh my goodness, Trump, he has cognitive ability. Won't you release his cognitive report? Didn't President Trump release it? I mean, can you not? I mean, really? We can look at President Trump go on a stage, a rally for 90 freaking minutes. For 90 minutes, dude is a machine. There's no one that I know of that has the stamina of President Trump. The man keeps going. He's like, what it is, President Trump is high on life. The man has never had a drink. He's never smoked, never done drugs, but he's high on life. And I'm talking about President Trump. He keeps going and going. And you know what? With these Democrats, the way they're attacking him, not just mentally, financially, spiritually, physically, y'all know what I'm talking about. That's motivation. President Trump being in his position is giving him motivation to get these people. And they're upset about it. Listen to this one, because Scott Jennings, he brings it up. And then, of course, it's all about Trump with these radical Democrats. It's all about Trump. It's not about Joe Biden cognitive ability. We got to look at Trump because there has to be something wrong with Trump. Has to be something wrong with him, according to the radical liberals.
In his case, for a long period of time, he was serving as the president and also was a candidate for re-election. And so, yeah, I mean, I think if you're telling the American people for any period of time, not only am I competent to serve and capable of serving today, but I can serve 4 more years, you do deserve, as an American citizen, to know what is the full health situation of the president. And as Dr. West said, you know, the number of lies that were told on his behalf by...
There it is again, the number of lies. The Democrat Party is the party of lies. They are the party of Satan, the father of lies.
His White House staff and his campaign and the whole Democratic apparatus. Today, whatever we hear today, by default, the American people are going to say, well, they lied to us about one thing. They're never going to tell us the truth about this thing. I'm like you. This sounds terrible. I'm not a doctor, but just hearing you talk, it sounds terrible. And I think we should pray for the president and pray for his health. And I hope he gets a miracle here. But as a political matter, I think a massive amount of trust has been lost and a massive amount of credibility was spent on covering up for him. And it's going to be hard for the Democrats to get it back.
Are we forgetting here? And I agree with everything.
Now, here it comes. Here it comes. It's got to be Trump. It got to be about Trump. It's always the typical liberal female every single time. Not that the male liberals don't do it, the soy boys. But listen to her.
That you said, and I agree with a lot of what you said. But are we forgetting here that Ronnie Jackson, when he was the White House doctor for Donald Trump, said that Donald Trump was in good enough health to live to be 200, that he had such incredible genes that he was going to live forever.
We are very much not forgetting that. That's exactly why.
He was 6'3" and 239 pounds. Why 239? Because 240 would make him obese, so he had to come in at 1 pound below that.
I think that this is exactly why I'm asking the question, because I think a lot of Democrats think that was a scandal that Ronnie Jackson maybe lied about President Trump's weight. And it could be weight. It could be a lot of things way more serious than that.
Oh, my goodness. Hypocrite. I mean, straight up hypocrite. There's probably something else going on that he didn't tell us about President Trump. There's probably something else. They're covering something up, but not Joe Biden, though.
And at what point should there be, we talk about HIPAA violations for regular people, but for the president of the United States, should we really have that same standard?
Yeah, what I would love to do, actually, you're absolutely right, is to have somebody who's an unbiased doctor, not somebody who's the White House physician who obviously has a relationship with the president, to give us the full readout on the president. And I agree that it would be a HIPAA violation, except I think if you run for president, that kind of HIPAA violation needs to be codified in some way that you are entitled as an American citizen to see what the mental and the physical condition is for whoever's in the White House, regardless of who it is. I don't care if it's, JFK at the age of 40, 41, 42, or it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump now, the oldest president.
She's lying. She's lying because Joe Biden is out of the White House. If she was so concerned, she would have been bringing it up the past 4 years when we all knew something was wrong with Joe Biden in 2019. She would have brought it up then. She's lying. This is what they do.
Are you arguing that Joe Biden was fine during his
I'm not arguing that he was fine. I'm arguing that
you keep pivoting back to Trump, who's clearly fine. I'm just asking you if you're arguing.
See, always go back to Trump. Scott Jennings, thank you. He's hitting her back, saying it's always going back to Trump. And she doesn't like it. It's all about Trump. It's all about Trump. Again, Trump can handle a press conference. He doesn't need cards. President Trump's not shaking invisible hands. President Trump is not falling upstairs. President Trump is not talking to dead people. I mean, come on. Radical, stupid liberals are incapable of recognizing reality. Something was wrong with Joe. Admit it. Something was wrong with him. And it's not that we wanted something to be wrong with Joe. It became a national security threat. It truly is.
You admit something was not wrong with Joe Biden.
I'm so glad you asked that question because Joe Biden is no longer the president.
But he was, and that's the story tonight.
Stop. Let me finish what I'm saying, guys. Let me finish something. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. I would dearly love to see a cognitive test from him because as somebody who's lived in the New York media market for the last 40 years, I can tell you that the Donald Trump that I knew in the 80s is not the Donald Trump that I hear today.
So your answer to the cover-up is Trump.
My answer is...
Your answer to every question is Trump.
My answer is
the cover-up is the story tonight.
The president...
That's the story.
Yes, the cover-up is also the president of the United States, who happens to be Donald J. Trump today, is not... Yeah, you could laugh all you want.
I am definitely laughing.
You know why you're laughing?
You're laughing.
We're not laughing.
You don't want to answer the question, Scott.
Yeah.
Your president...
What question?
Julie, we're going to leave it there.
I'd love to see his cognitive test. I'd love to see
I'm sure
physical
he'd be
test.
Dr. Grasso.
Sure he would. Right.
Hold on, guys.
Of course, she wants to see President Trump's cognitive test. I mean, I think we see President Trump's cognitive test every single day. Every single day. I think it goes without question. President Trump has more stamina than most people. I haven't met anyone that has more stamina than President Trump. I'm just being straight up. I'll never forget it. Right before the election, President Trump was rally hopping. He even went to one rally to another rally. And I remember one of the last ones that he did, it was 3:00 in the morning and he's still going strong. And I'm like, I'm exhausted. I'm like, how is this man doing this? And he's just going strong. And it's because President Trump is high on life. Part of the reason why when President Trump goes into the Oval Office, he's not asking people, what are we working on? He's asking them, what have you accomplished today? What have you accomplished? How many more days do we have left? Now, President Trump is looking at the days that we have left. And President Trump went on Capitol Hill basically to put a fire up under the backside of the Democrats. They're already in fire, right? They're demonic demons. But me personally, I believe President Trump went on Capitol Hill to put a fire under the Republicans because these executive orders that President Trump has been doing, there should have been bills for every single one of them. To my understanding, it's like 151, 153 executive orders now. It's 150 plus. We'll say the 150 plus executive orders, record history. The Republicans should have been making history right alongside President Trump. They would have been remembered throughout time what they've done if they would have just done that. But they didn't do that. And I think President Trump, you split screen it, President Trump showed up on Capitol Hill to put a fire up under them. Can you split screen it for me? There we go. Here he is to put a fire up on them. And the Democrats are upset that he's there to put a fire up under the Republicans. See, President Trump's not supposed to talk to the Republicans, only the Democrats are. And the reason why I know that is because of what Hakeem Joffrey says here. Hakeem Joffrey's, I don't know why they had the camera looking at the top of his head there, but I think they would probably just follow him through the hallway. Hakeem Joffrey has said that the only reason why President Trump is on Capitol Hill because he's there to tell the Republicans that the Republicans work for Trump and not the American people. Again, more lies from the Democrat Party.
The Hill is to try to remind Republican Murphy's view that they don't work for the American people, they work for him and Elon Musk, and they better follow Montreux.
Oh my goodness.
Well, actually, Will, today after Trump left, they did another vote to see if they could get enough votes on the floor, and it failed. So Trump doesn't have. See, listen, Republicans are different. They have their mind of their own. They're not. They don't just like Democrats. If one votes one way, pretty much all of them do. That's not how it happens on Republicans. They're really trying to make a deal for the American people, and all of the Republicans have a value and input into this bill. Trump, like Trump said in his thing, I may not like it all, but they all have a voice, and that's why there's so much. I wouldn't say infighting, but they're negotiating. They're trying to create the best situation for the American people and our economy going forward. Hakeem's just mad because the Republicans are actually working together, and they all have very strong opinions on how to do that.
And President Trump, while he was there, he was saying this is the most unified that he's seen the Republican Party.
Republicans aren't blank slates like Democrats are.
Yeah, he said this is the first time that they've seen them this unified. I mean that's pretty sad though. The Democrats, if there's something that they can come together to destroy the country, they'll do it. But the Republicans, they want some. They'll push back because they want special deals.
Yeah, today their agenda is to support a congresswoman that has a hearing because she assaulted ICE. That's what's on their agenda today.
Yes, on their agenda. Hey, let me say thank you really quick to Stacks on Peel.net. Thank you so much for the gold pills, as well as Filter Dog. Thank you so much for the gold pills on Peel.net. I greatly appreciate you. And again, Stacks, thank you so much. Was there anybody else? I think there was somebody else. Not seeing it, but thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube, if you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up. And the same thing on Rumble. Please hit that thumbs up. I can't stress it enough how much of a difference it makes when you hit the thumbs up. And if you don't like Will Johnson, hit the thumbs down twice. Show me up. Show me up. Also, I brought this up yesterday. It is hot in my studio because my studio AC went out. And I'm going to ask everyone, I'm pleading with you, if you could help me get my AC unit replaced. And I had a guy come out yesterday and look at it, and the damage is really bad. It's extremely bad. So anything you can do to help me to get my AC turned back on, I would greatly appreciate it. UniteAmericaFirst.com/donate. And look, the equipment gets really heated in here. It really does. And you can't see I'm sweating, right? Because I try to keep cool. Cool as a cucumber. If you want to see me sweat, if you want to see me sweat, just tune in this coming Saturday. Not because of the radical liberals, but because it's hot outside. That's the only reason. But if you would, please, if God puts it on your heart, go to my website, UniteAmericaFirst.com/donate. And at the top of the page, you can see there's different ways you can become a monthly subscriber, which I greatly appreciate it. Or one time, if you just want to help me out one time, right there in the middle, you can see the different options. Or my physical address, which, again, I always remind everybody, if you send me a letter, I will always keep that letter. and I will always keep the envelope that it came in. I've kept every single one that I've received. Ever since I started doing this, ever since I put my physical address, I have kept every single one. I've kept every single one. All right, everybody. That is it for me. God bless you. Thank you so much for being here. See you tomorrow. Stay safe.